Alright, so slightly different video. So this is the machine that I'm currently on at the moment. This is a Volvo A30G dump truck. So I thought I'd give you a bit of a walk around of the truck. So obviously these machines are pretty common for sort of being like the first machine that operators get their hands on sites. Mainly because of how easy they are to learn and to operate, and they give a really good sort of insight into getting on to your job site, really, because you're watching the dozer, the excavator, so it's a really good way of gauging what sort of might be your next move as a machine driver. So these are also known as ADTs or Moxies in the UK. Obviously there's going to be different names everywhere, but all of them will have this pretty standard 3-axle configuration. So obviously you've got your main drive axles here, and then another axle at the front which can also be engaged. So yeah, you can have full 6-wheel drive on these. So these can get into some seriously boggy and rough areas. You've got really good visibility out of the cabs on these Volvos. So they sit really high up and they're quite narrow, so you can see down the side of the machine. Got good mirrors as well. Big fan of these little LED side lights. I think they look really smart. At the back here, we've got a rear work light, a camera, and 2 flashing blue strobe lights. Around the front here, we've got our AdBlue, and on this side, we've got our diesel fill cap there. Now you can check all your levels through the computer in the cab, or we can really easily get to the bonnet to do our proper visual checks with these 2 hooks here. So simply pull those down. So now we've got really easy access to our engine bay. You've got your engine oil dipstick there. Coolant tank is at the back, which means we need to open the other bonnet here. So we've got a pole down here which we can take out, link it onto this tool here, which then goes onto this socket there. Now you can pump that and it will open up the engine, and you can check all your levels manually. Now every truck is different due to its age, but on this particular one the isolator is right here just by the operator cab. So just make sure that's in the on position right there. On some of the older Volvo trucks, this switch wasn't present. This was an automatic thing, so as soon as you turn the key on, the isolator would automatically turn on. But on these machines now, it's manual. And then coming into the cab, these are a really nice place to spend the shift. So control-wise, let's work our way upwards. First of all, down there, you've just got a footrest. This is your retarder here, which slows the truck down without having to use the brakes. There's a little button just on the floor there, so if you tap that in, you fill it with your foot. That is what engages the diffs. Here, got your brake pedal and your accelerator pedal. And on the steering wheel here, there's a little lever here, which just allows you to bring the wheel down towards you, so it's in a comfortable position. So starting on the left side here, you've got your headlights, which are just your halogen bulbs, and they also control the side lights down there. We've got our work lights, so your front work lights and your rear work lights. Now both of these, something that people don't realise, you have a middle setting on these. So there's one there, and then there's another one. So the middle setting, if you engage your headlights, when you flash your high beam now, your work lights up here will also flash. So that's quite handy if you're working in an area with lots of other trucks. It makes it quite easy to recognise, who's saying, yeah, you can come, you can go. Because obviously your halogen headlights down there aren't particularly bright for other trucks who are sat high up like this. So if you have those in the middle setting, when you flash that beam, it flashes all your lights and just makes it much easier for other trucks to recognise who's flashing. Then you've also got this, which controls the brightness of the screen right there. Heated mirrors and your electronic mirror control, so either side mirror can be adjusted electronically, saving you having to get out of the cab. And on the right side, we've got our keypad. We've got this for our regeneration, engine stop, heated seat, hazard lights, key, and emergency stop. And finally on the right side, we've got our cruise control, the plus and the minus. You've got different hill, hold, and engine braking options. So in the forward position, that's your engine braking, and in the rear, that's to engage hill hold. Now I personally prefer to use hill hold because I just think you have more control. So when you come to the edge of a hill and you start descending down the hill, that will automatically hold your speed, or try and hold the speed anyway, provided you're not going too fast. And that saves you having to use your foot brake or the retarder. It's all automatic, and I just think it's much easier. You've got your gear lock here, which I'll come back to. Got your gear stick here, so we've got reverse, neutral, drive, and then manually you can select gears 3, 2 and 1. We've got our dumper brake, and we've got the hydraulic control for the skip at the rear to tip and bring it back down. Got our transmission controls here, so this is to engage your 6-wheel drive, and the parking brake. Now coming back to this button here, so this engages the brakes when we're dumping the body. So instead of using your foot to hold your foot on the brakes whilst you're tipping up the body at the back like that, you simply just tap the button, and now the brakes will hold until you either put it into drive or reverse and continue going. So obviously, let's say we're going to come and tip, you put it into neutral, you'd start tipping, press that button, the brakes will now hold without having to touch it with your foot until you put it into drive, and the brakes will automatically release and you'll go. It just means that you can keep your mind on tipping and not having to brake with your foot, tip, put it into drive. It's all just done with your fingertips here, so it's much easier for the operator. And also coming back to the gear hold, now you can either lock this manually into gears 1, 2 and 3 when you set off, or you can leave it into drive and look at the screen in front of you and see which gear it's in. So you can see here we've got neutral currently because we're in neutral, but that will obviously be in 1, 2 or 3 as the automatic transmission changes through those gears. So when you know that you're in 1, you can just press that gear lock and it will lock it into 1. Press it again and it can go free, it can freely decide which gear it wants to go in again. I personally leave it in drive and just select the gears using this. And coming back to the screen in front, we've got our AdBlue levels, fuel level, speed, your engine revs, and then here we've got the truck, so you can, whenever you tip, the body will raise up into the air on the screen so you can see that your body's in the air, or if it's not quite back on the base of the truck, it'll tell you. You've got your slope, so your inclinometer, so that will tell you what incline you're on. Your gear, so currently we're in neutral, temperature, and any messages will appear there as well. Your beacon lights, that's constantly on, parking brake and battery because the ignition is currently on. Daily checks are quite easy from opening the front of the bonnet, and we've also got digitalized ones, so these top 3 buttons here. So the first one, that will show your engine, so you've got your coolant and coolant level, transmission and hydraulics, and in each of these settings there's other ones to check below. Just simplifies the checks for the operator, and it means you can check it throughout the day as well if you need to, especially if you're on a hot day. It can be quite good to check the coolant. So yeah, it's all through there. So that was just a really quick walk around of this Volvo A30. Hopefully that was useful to some of you, and yeah, thanks for watching.